Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Hopefully, as you're watching this, if not later on in the week, hope you are having a great start to your week. Nonetheless, back for another week to maximize your Monday, hopefully. So as you can see, a new guest with me, Sarah from Spark Packaging is joining me. Thank you so much, Sarah, for jumping on. How are you this week?
Good. How's it going?
Doing well. It's Monday, well, Friday technically, so doing better than probably I am when you're watching this, when a new week is upon us. So, winded down for the week. So, as you know, if you've watched this show, what the things we do here. So, breaking down what's motivating me for the week ahead. So, a lot of stuff planned for the weekend ahead, and some of it might be fun. We'll see. So, the first thing is they're having like this Disney princess meet thing in a nearby town that we're taking my 3-year-old daughter to. And so we'll see how that goes. It's kind of a mixed bag for her with characters. When we went to like actual Disneyland, some of them she was like ecstatic to meet, and some she was just not interested at all. So fingers crossed when we go to this, these are all characters that she's going to really be excited for. We kind of showed her pictures to see if she would get excited, and she seemed on the fence with some. So we'll see.
That's awesome.
She's 3, so her tastes and interests change by the minute. So we'll see if maybe she gets in there and absolutely loves it. Fingers crossed. Second thing, if you know me, you know I talk about my show binging all the time. This week, the return of Ted Lasso. So football is life. Looks like sadly probably the last season of Ted Lasso, but still going to enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to that returning, another show that I can just kind of mindlessly watch as it rolls on here. And football is life, and in Matt's world, wrestling is also life. So I do have a convention coming up this Saturday. My friends and I do this like 2-3 times a year, where they have a thing in Philly where all the like current and retired wrestlers come to like sign autographs, and we usually get a table for our podcast just to kind of be there and say we are in the wrestling industry, even though we pretty much aren't. But we at least get to like go and glad hand with the other wrestlers and act like we're part of the show. So it's fun to do a few times a year. So those are the things I'm looking forward to the week ahead. But some goals for the week. If you watched the show last week, I had mentioned a few new starts that I have in the pipeline in the hiring process, and that's kind of going to be a recurring goal for me. Just kind of like they sign the offer, here's your start date, onboarding takes over. This year I've tried to make it a point to like keep touch points throughout the process with them, see what I can do for them throughout the hiring process, so it's not just all falling on someone else. So just holding myself accountable to that week after week. The other goal of mine ahead, if you've watched the show, you know I transitioned from being an English teacher to now a recruiter, and so transitioning teachers is kind of a thing that I'm trying to assist as other educators make a move out of the classroom and into something new. And I have a couple positions that I think could align with what some of them are looking for in terms of a new path beyond just the classroom. So that's my big goal for the week, is just to kind of see if I can get a few educators into a new position with Novalex, as opposed to just trying to find other things for them and commenting on it as I see on LinkedIn, actually making that step towards getting them into the company I work for. So that is a goal. Wish me luck on that. And so for the week behind, the big win from the week, I usually try to do professional. This was more of a personal thing. I've had like bucket list things of what I'd like to accomplish in my personal life and what my professional life can afford me to. So one of those things was to be a season ticket holder for the 76ers. That's like long been a goal of mine. And I finally, last week, with the permission from my wife, got the approval to buy season tickets for next season. So that was a big moment for me, was to finally like check that off. Like, Matt, you've made it. You finally have done this. So cool moment for me. Probably not as cool for my wife, but very supportive of it nonetheless. So
I'm sure she's happy for you.
she's ecstatic from the sidelines. It increases her concert budget for the year, so I guess it's a win-win for both of us. So, so that's it for me this week. Sarah, what do you have going on in your world?
A lot. So 3 things motivating me for the week ahead. 1, summer and spring. So we got 4 to 5 inches of snow last night, which is why I'm working remotely today. So that's always I'm just ready for it to be done. Big motivator for me. Planning a trip for Memorial Day weekend with my partner. So I'm not sure what we're doing yet. So if you have any suggestions, definitely down to open to hearing about them. Got a few things we're looking at, maybe like New Orleans or something like that. Somewhere we've never been before. So I always like having a trip to like look forward to. This last one kind of ties into a win that I've had for the last week. So I've been working with a client on a position for a VP of engineering. So we got word that, you know, our candidate did accept the offer this past week, which is huge. Took a lot of energy and a lot of legwork. So for just seeing it come to fruition for me was really exciting, motivating, and just makes me want to keep creating opportunities. So
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I will say, in PA, we haven't gotten any snow in 2 years since I bought our snowblower. So I can't feel your pain, but that's probably on me. Like the day after we purchased it, it's just been like no snow ever since.
None in 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a very, I mean, not a shovelable amount of snow. At least we get flurries from time to time, but not enough to like close schools or anything. So.
Okay. Well, I guarantee you throw that thing on Facebook Marketplace, it's going to snow the next day.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the reasons I reached out to you, and I've been connected for quite some time now, both in the recruiting space, and I like to have recruiters on from time to time just to give that perspective of different industries. We're in the same industry technically, but still, you know, a different kind of search to it. So what initially got you into recruiting? Was it just something that happened to you fell into like I did, or was it something that you always had in the back of your mind, like this seems like something I could do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was going to say, it's kind of funny, like how a lot of people say they just fall into it. So that's exactly how it happened to me. So I had just graduated with my degree in sign language interpreting, and, you know, I was excited, I was ready to go. And then COVID hit. So it's a lot like nursing, where when you're done with school, you have to be certified. So all of that has to be in person, obviously, because they've got to, you know, be there to see your skill set. So it all got canceled with COVID. So I was just kind of left like that, threw a big wrench in my plans. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but I've been in the customer service industry for pretty much, I mean, my entire life since I was 16 and I could get a job. So I had known Billy for a while. He's our CEO here. And he reached out to me and was like, hey, have you ever thought about recruiting? And I was like, nope. And so that's kind of just, it's all history from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if people are connected with you, they've seen you've kind of been rising throughout Spark here and seen some promotions. So what is it that you really kind of took to? Because some people get into recruiting and then after a year, they're like, no, not for me. So what was it that kept you coming in and has made you kind of strive for the success that you've reached?
So it's definitely hard. And I talk about this sometimes when we get like, new recruiters and stuff, that there's kind of like that like wall that you hit, not in a bad way, but you kind of just like get to this point where like you get to the hump and you're like I don't know if I can do this. I mean, I don't know if you've been there. I've definitely been there. It's been a huge growing experience for me. So I mean, just obviously it's hard to pick like one thing that I really, really like about it, but helping someone grow their career obviously is going to be the top thing for me. But what I really enjoy too is being able to serve our clients the way that they need it. So we're still growing here. We have a lot of like flexibility and we can be nimble to really give our clients kind of like the solution that works for them. So we don't just have to be like, nope, like, sorry, we can't help you. Like we can work with people and kind of figure out a way to, to help them get to that solution. And the great thing is Billy and Dom give us as account managers like that autonomy to make the decisions, which is really great and something that I appreciate.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So how do you, Sarah, try to make the candidate experience different from what they might see if they go to a different agency, different company? You know, what do you try to do as the recruiter to stand out to people that come to you for your services?
So yeah, another great question. So I mean, candidate experience obviously is key. So my job is to put somebody in a better position than they're in right now. So one, that means obviously making sure it's the right fit, not just trying to push somebody just because, but also ensuring that like our clients' process is smooth. They're moving the ball forward. It's not a long drawn out process. And just making sure, because just because somebody may not be the right fit right then doesn't mean that they're not going to be a good fit later down the line. So making sure that you're giving feedback, whether it's positive or not. I think it's really important to just give that, because again, if they may get that experience 3 to 5 years later, they may not be interested because of the experience that they had with either with you or with the company. So it's really important to kind of like protect that experience for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's someone who has to kind of play both sides and think about your clients, perspective. How do you try to stand out for them as well and make them want to work with you as opposed to, another agency, another recruiter?
For our clients, we really like to be a partner to them. It's not transactional for us. I know that there's a lot of companies that maybe are like that or companies that want that, but that's just not for us. I mean, we really want to make sure that we're not just going to take a position and be like, hey, yeah, we're going to work on this. And then it's like crickets for 2 weeks and they're like, what the heck, Spark? We want to make sure that like, hey, if we're going to say we're going to work on it, we're going to do our initial, research, look at the pay rate, look at the area in the market and make sure that it makes sense for everybody involved. And if for some reason, hey, the pay rate is maybe a little bit too low, we might need to look at a relocation. We're going to give our clients that feedback because, I mean, ultimately that's our job, is to give them the information and be their partner.
Yeah, definitely. So as someone who does a lot of interviews every day, what advice do you try to give to your candidates as they're going through the interview process? Because interviewing is certainly tough and something people struggle with. The first 2 interviews out of college, I absolutely bombed, and now I do it every day. So, what are some things that you try to pinpoint as here's what you should try to do to stand out as the candidate?
That's a great question too. So I would say, I mean, first, just be confident. I think that's something that I was taught when I first started at Spark, is I didn't have as much confidence maybe as I do right now, which is okay. But I mean, just be confident. Again, like if there's a question that you don't know when you're interviewing, like try to just answer it the best you can. Don't be like, I don't know. Like it's okay to say, hey, can I take a minute and can we come back to that question? Like that's totally okay, rather than just like spitting out an answer really quickly. With that too, I would say just always do your research on the company. Make sure it's something that you know what the company does, you know what they're about, you know their values. And aside from that, I mean, just shoot, I just blanked.
It happens. No worries.
So aside from that, I mean, just make sure that it's something that prepare for it, but don't over prepare to the point where you're stressing out beforehand.
Yeah, definitely. So last question that I'll have for you then is just that recruiting is kind of one of those industries that is very popular right now. A lot of people trying to get into it. And unfortunately, there have been a lot of layoffs in the recruitment industry. So a lot of people trying to find new roles within the industry as well. So for anyone either looking to transition into a new recruiting position or just transition into the industry in general, what advice would you give them in terms of preparing them for getting started in recruitment, whether that's in just a new side of recruiting, going from like tech to manufacturing or to healthcare, stuff like that?
I think it's important to obviously understand the industry. Obviously, if it's something healthcare related versus like manufacturing, do your research. I mean, I know when I first started, I didn't know the difference between what a production manager or production supervisor did. Like I was on Google all the time. I was watching videos. So really get an understanding of kind of the industry itself and just make connections, because I don't necessarily think that, I mean, everybody on our team at Spark, nobody came from recruiting. Everybody came from bartending, serving, any kind of like customer service. So having that background, I think, is really important. So I think it's important for people to know, like, you don't have to come from that to get into it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, Sarah, I appreciate you so much jumping on here with me. If you're not connected with Sarah yet, make sure you're doing that. Follow Spark Packaging as well for some of the fun stuff you guys do in your office. Otherwise, we hope you have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, guys.